All right, so I'm saying let's work on spine health today, but quite specifically on thoracic spine. So where we can get that sort of kyphotic curve, sort of type, we work hard and get older. Let's try and get a little bit more awareness by the end of the session into how we can support and strengthen our upper back. So we're going to start straight in with mobilizing the spine with a roll down, pace forwards, plank, pace back, roll up. So with me, land on nice and sort of juicy stretches, wiggles as we go. No one else can see, so I'm the only one who looks ridiculous. Let's start by reaching up through the fingertips, really stretch into the fingertips, stretching the sides of the body, and then we'll take cactus arms, like you're grabbing something, pull down, chest wide open, elbows coming to the waist, and we're following all the way through into a roll down, chin to chest, as though you're peeling yourself off a wall. So arms are heavy, head is heavy. Start to engage your core so you can focus fully on decompressing the lower spine. Legs are straight-ish, but a micro bend in the knees will just help you come into a slightly deeper forward fold, enjoying the stretch of the backs of the legs. You can pause here for a moment to take it turns to bend one knee deeper, and then switch legs to the other. So you're just sinking into one hip at a time. I like to think I look like Beyonce when I do this. So just enjoying that stretch in the hip. We're getting ready to pace the hands forwards. Now, it doesn't have to be an energetic straight into a plank first thing in the morning. You can have a knee down, it can be a calf stretch. So really, we're just feeling our way through the body, how things feel. Let's pace the hands forward, so you may initially be in a high plank, maybe the knees coming down. But if you can take it in terms of stretch one calf, so one ball of the foot pressing down, pressing back through the ball of the foot, down the other leg. To add as much weight into that leg, as much intensity into the stretch as you wish. So either with the opposite knee on the floor or lifted. Down dog. So let's go into a down dog with bent knees, crouching low. And we'll pedal it through from one foot to the other. So one thing I want you to try to start, at least being aware of this, when we try to counter that upper back bend, often we let the ribs flare out and we rely very strongly on squeezing the shoulder blades together rather than going straight to the muscles of the thoracic spine. We're going to walk the hands back. So the knees can come back here to walk your hands back, or you'll stay with the knees lifted, and we'll roll up through the spine. Enjoy that stretch of the backs of the legs. Head last to come up, rolling up, rebuilding. And at the top, rolling the shoulders back and down, those cactus arms, elbows into the waist. Last time, chin to chest, round forwards. Give the legs a squeeze on the way down. Shake out the head, maybe sway the arms around the legs, and then pace it forward. Find your plank. Here, working into the wrists, maybe swaying a little bit forwards, a little bit back. This can be with the knees down. It can be a kind of semi-up dog, extended child pose, or with the knees lifted, just feeling some work into the wrists, if that's okay for you. And then we'll pace it back from the down dog. Head again, last to come up, rebuilding the spine, and at the top, rolling the shoulders back and down. Okay, let's take the knees together, feet together. We're going to come into a chair with a twist. Obviously, spinal health, we need to take the spine into 3 planes of movement. We'll press the hands together, sit low, can still see the toes. And rather than kind of cheating, hooking the elbow on the outside of the knee, we're just going to use the strength in the spine, in our core, to take that prayer twist to one side. So I'm not hooking, I'm not resting the elbow down, pressing into the heels to come up, and then breathing out, squeezing the knees together. So we're engaging the inner thighs here. The lower elbow, you're pushing it away to the side wall to deepen that twist. Breathing in, center. Always come to a really strong Long line as you come up to the center, squeeze the glutes, straighten the legs. So we're fully coming out of that chair position, breathing in tall, breathing out. So try and keep the knees together, the pelvis is stabilized, we're not swaying with the upper body twist. 2 more each side. With the breath, try to keep the hips down, square to the front. The pressure between the fingertips and the heels of the hands, taking you into that twist. For the last round, we can think about a peach under the chin, so we keep a nice long line at the back of the neck. Navel to spine, tummy, bottom, ribs, head, everything swiveling to one side. Last time, over to the left if you're in time with me. So we're making sure the weight's still into the heels, the toes, I could lift and wiggle them, and back up to standing. To work the legs in a slightly different way, we're still moving the spine, feet right under the hips, like you want to pull up bar, reach overhead, grab, and as you breathe out, in cactus arms, sink back into the heels, long through the tailbone, elbows come towards the waist. I still have a nice juicy peach under my chin. I can still lift and wiggle my toes. Now driving up through the heels, up to standing. Let's breathe in, stand tall, squeeze the glutes, breathing out. The fists and the elbows working their way behind you. So here we are working through the postural muscles that support the upper back, very much leading with the shoulder blades. So this chest opening, you can feel we're actively drawing the shoulder blades together. But this can become stronger now if we drive the elbows and fists back, but we close those front ribs. So here, hopefully, you're starting to get a sense of how easy it is to trick ourselves that we are correcting that upper back curve just by opening the chest. But all that's happening there is we're opening the ribs. The spine itself isn't really moving so much. Let's have 2 more here. Spread the fingers as you stand tall. Really squeeze the glutes, and then sinking back into the heels, drawing the shoulders down so the lats are engaged here to draw the shoulders down away from the ears, driving up through the heels for the last one, and breathing out, lowering down. So the last set of movements we'll take standing up. We're in a wide plie position, so toes are turned out. And before we take any other movements, let's make sure the knees are tracking over the toes. If the knees dip forward, take the toes in a little bit. So the knees, check, they're tracking over the toes. Be fussy about that. So legs as wide as you feel comfortable that you can move in and out of that plie. Slowly sink down into a plie, wherever you get to, but let's keep the upper body nice and long. Tailbone pointing down towards the floor, and let's just look at shoulder stabilization. Arms out wide. Reach for the side walls. So here we've got vulnerable joints, and then if we plug the arms into the sockets, we have strengthened, stable joints. So once more, reaching out wide. Spreading the fingers, so active through to the fingertips, and then plug the shoulders back and down, arms, humerus into the socket. Staying there, let's bring the arms forward and back. So working on the muscles in a really strong, secure way, keeping everything nice and close, bringing forwards and backwards. So we have to work on pressing the feet into the floor, the big toes, little toes, and the heels. Actively working the knees far apart. Let's try and bring one arm forward, the other back. So here, as we are working the shoulders, inevitably we're affecting the chest and the upper back. Let's try to keep the shoulder blades nice and flat to the spine, and we're just moving the arms, keeping the ribs together. Pubic bones curled up to the ribs so this we're all zipped up in the front of the body. Last couple of times. And then float the arms down, roll the shoulders, toe and heel the feet in. Just have a little shrug of all the joints and kick back. We're going to come down onto all fours. So I'm going to lower the camera here. Okay, now this is a funny one. Flossing out the shoulder blades with the spine can take a while to kind of get the hang of it. So let's just meet on all fours, shoulders over wrists, hips over the knees. Now keeping the arms straight, see if you can engage your core, and as though your spine is now a piece of floss, drop the floss down towards the mat, and then push it up between the shoulder blades. So the arms are staying stable, the head stays in line, so the neck stays nice and long. We're looking at the floor in between the index fingers, moving up and down. Now this can be quite confusing. It can be tempting to bend the elbows. So see if you can stick with this, keep straightening the arms. Now, if that's just mind-blowingly weird because it's not something you're used to doing, maybe just try a few more times. Otherwise, if you're ready, we're going to circle. So the floss, you take away and down towards your heels, so the shoulders come up to the ears. Drop down, draw forwards, press into the heels of the hands, so the spine lifts between the shoulder blades. So you can start to feel that circling action, literally flossing out the shoulder blades. So this is all part of getting your brain thinking which muscles power the thorax. It's good for strengthening shoulders anyway. You need to come on to fists if your wrists are getting sore, tired, fatigued, that's fine. Let's try those circles in the other direction. So all that muscular awareness, bit of warmth into the thoracic spine there. All right, come and sit on your heels. If you need to elevate the hips on the block here or a cushion, that's fine. Let's just take a moment to hug. And so we separate the shoulder blades here. You can bow the chin to the chest and lean forwards. And then breathe in, elbows lift, elbows to the ceiling. Just once more here. And lifting. Clasp the hands behind the back, shoulders back and down. Here we're using the strength of the arms, hands clearly to draw the shoulder blades together. But for here, hands on the ribs, and let's have one with the fingers up the spine, just so that we get that awareness of where the thoracic spine is. Now have a sense of lifting, lengthening through the spine, and without the ribs coming apart, see if you can take an upper back bend where you're pressing into those fingers. So the sense is the heart space lifting up to the ceiling, not a back bend, nothing in the lower back, just the upper back. So you'll feel how strongly you need to keep that core engaged. So slight tilt back. See if you can hold it there just until you get some sensations in the upper back. So you need to zip up the lower abdominals right up to the ribs stay together and lean back. Now if this leads to any discomfort in your neck, drop your chin down to the chest, because we're not worried too much about the cervical spine at the moment. It's all about getting the muscles moving and engaging, working for us in the upper back. So it's a few inches above where your bra strap would be, that we'll feel, hopefully, a little bit of work going on there. So pause in that thoracic back bend, feeling not so much the squeeze between the shoulder blades, we're focusing on the muscles of the upper back. It's quite tiring, very focused work, but it will maybe make you think the next time you're in a yoga class and you're taking a cobra, that rather than dumping on the hands and pushing up and taking that back bend into the lower spine, you might have a little bit more awareness about actually finding space in the upper back. Ooh, one more. We're going to have a break from there and take a Janu Sirsasana, so we'll move on to the legs just to give you a break. Let's extend the right leg, left foot into a tree pose, move the flesh away. We can still have some awareness into the spine though. So let's keep the spine long, chin nicely aligned, and we'll pace the hands forwards. Let's have the toes pointing up to the ceiling. And even here, where we are getting a stretch to the back of the body, we can think about the heart space moving forwards, and maybe already, because of the work we've done into the upper back, we might have some awareness into where we were maybe had compression in the thoracic spine. We maybe can find a little bit of length. So a strong hold around the knee, the calf, wherever the hands happen to fall. So rather than rounding down, we're not going for the classic nose to knee. We're working on that strength in the spine. So a really long spine whilst getting a stretch into the back of the leg. Nice deep breaths. Let's think Shivan under breath. Full breath in and then plunging the breath out all the way to your toes. Let's have one more breath here on this side. Gorgeous. Place the hands back, shake out the legs, and we'll go straight to the other side. So bend the right leg, right foot into the groin, left toes pointing up. Let's move the flesh away so we can sit up tall on the sit bones. And again, let's find that length in the spine and walk the hands down the leg. So as we breathe in, particularly, we can think about chest forward, shoulders back. And as we plunge the breath out, all the way down, body out the toes, feel the engagement coming in around the waist. Sometimes when we're in this position, it's easy to stick the chin out, and we want sort of desperate to get further down the leg. But rather think about the long line at the back of the neck, shoulders down. And it's like a place of board along the back of the body with long and strong, nice, strong, long line at the spine. 2 more breaths here, and then we shake out. So if you're very tight in the back of the leg, give it a little nurturing squeeze, no forcing. Last thing, sitting up. Let's take eagle arms because we're all about the spine. Let's take the arms wide overhead. And as you breathe out, take a twist, right hand to left knee. Swivel. Look over your shoulder. Keep hold of that left knee and lift the left arm all the way up and over the body for a side bend. Find the opposite knee. And let's come to eagle arms. Either the backs of the hands or clamp the hands together. Breathe in. Again, back to thoracic spine without flaring the front ribs. Keep the abs zipped in and lift up. And then breathing out the counter. So this is a mindful rounding of the upper back. So where you're working too hard at your desk or whatever you're doing in a slightly forward position, here we're just giving the body a little counter, elbows to the ceiling, without flaring, so we keep the strength in the abdominals. Last time, deep breath in, so here the shoulder blades are separating. And then lowering down. Release the arms, take the arms overhead, nice deep breath in, and this left hand to right knee, take a twist, shoulders back and down. So we're swivel with a long spine. So it's easy to keep the pelvis stable here because the sit bones are planted into the floor. But then turn the navel, the ribs, the shoulders, the gaze all the way around. Release the right arm, reach up and over. Just enjoy a gentle side bend here. Find the opposite knee just to take us into eagle arms on the other side. Straighten the breathing in, lifting the elbows high. Breathing out, elbows come towards the belly, and we round the back. Breathing in, only gently separating the shoulder blades. And coming down. Okay, we're going to go on to leg slides, but we still have to be aware of the spine to keep a neutral spine. So let's lie on the back, put the knees into the chest, have a little rock here. And then let's find where neutral spine is. So let's tilt the pelvis so there's only a minimal gap in the lower spine. Chin is tucked into the chest, shoulders down. Now let's keep our hands on the waist, place the weight into the left foot, and without any wobbling or minimal wobbling in the hips, we'll glide, slide the right leg into an extension without creating a curve in the lower back. We'll lift the leg up to the ceiling and then we replace. So it's as though we're back pedaling, but let's keep the backs of the shoulders on the floor. The front ribs are zipped together. So this is all good practice for maintaining a long line in the upper back rather than that kyphotic curve. Because we are having to train the upper abdominals to keep the ribs together. Chin stays tucked into the chest, so here you can lift your head onto a block if you're finding the chin desperately wants to point up to the ceiling. If this is super easy to keep your spine well imprinted, we'll float the other leg off the floor. But only do this if you're really managing to keep everything zipped in. So we'll just go through a few more of these backward pedaling, leg slide to leg extension and return with slow control, there's no jerking. And have the discipline of opening across the chest, but keeping the front ribs close. You can place one hand in the small of the back just to give you that feedback awareness that you're starting to arch. So here we're going for a nice position for the whole spine. So the tailbone is pointing down to the bottom edge of the mat. We have enough of a curve that we can absorb shocks in the lower back, but enough kind of reduction in that curve that we are relying much more heavily on the core strength. We've got the chest nice and open so we're not promoting that upper back curve. And then with the back of the head nicely supported and the chin giving us a mini double chin, we've got a nice line into the cervical spine. Whichever version you're doing, let's have one more set each side. Challenge yourself to pause, really strong pull in, and then up and lower. Let's take a twisted knot. Right foot to the floor, left leg crossing over, double hook if you like, and then drop the knees to the right. Arms out to the right T, just take a gentle sway here. I think you'll probably guess we are moving towards a cobra to see if we can have a slightly stronger cobra than perhaps we normally do with less awareness. Let's switch the legs, right over left, drop to the left, gentle sway, arms out wide. So now we've had a little break or a change in emphasis. Let's flip over onto our bellies. So we will take more of the weight into our hands because we're prone, but that's okay. We're now just thinking about hands. Let's just have them under the shoulders or a little bit wide, shoulders down. Let's sit the legs together so we have the strength of the legs as well. Looking down, see if you can press the pubic bone into the floor, close the front ribs together and lightly lift the upper back. So as though you're peeling the upper back so the chest is shining forward. See if you can find where that movement is so that it's in the upper back. And lower down. We'll take a few rounds here. So you may find if this is all going straight into your lower back, we need more of a pelvic tilt, pubic bone pressed into the floor. So we are lengthening the front of the body without letting the ribs flare. Floating up and down, maybe in the lift, if you're struggling to find that position, maybe pausing, lengthening the spine. Always think about lengthening before lowering. As you can see why we did this sitting up first, it's much easier for this to transfer into the lower back, transfer into the hands. So it takes a lot of concentration. See if you can find, just identify or place your fingers around the thoracic spine And then see if you can find length there. So it'll be a relatively small movement, but really key to work those deeper postural muscles. A lot of concentration, you're zipping your legs together, squeezing your glutes, keep it going into the floor, chin into the chest, peeling your chest off the floor. Think about length, always length, not compressing, lengthening forwards and up. Maybe every time you lower down, you can feel that your nose is a little bit closer to the front edge of your mat. Like you're trying to lengthen the spine to look over the front edge of the mat. And so we have to play with different images to help us get the right sensation of length. This is about decompressing, finding length here. Brilliant. Hard work. Let's come to a restless cobra. So the hands in front of us, rolling the shoulders back, let the head drop here, just finding any gentle movement here. The elbows can go wherever you like, shimmying those shoulders back. We can develop a bit of tension in the back there where we've concentrated so much work. So let's now just find some easing. Maybe bend one elbow, look over the opposite shoulder, take that movement side to side. Lovely. Let's thread through from all fours. Right arm threads through under the left, move it away, and just gently rest the cheek down. Pause. Breathe. Shoulders down away from the ears here. You're lightly pulling the arm out of the socket, lightly. The light, right kind of tension. And the other side, threading through. Rest the cheek down. And you're fully in charge of how much you find space in the shoulder joint. A little bit of relief around the shoulder blades. Lovely, lovely. And slowly release. Last of all, onto our backs. Let's get a nice gentle movement going again here. Now the soles of the feet together, arms up to the ceiling. Let's come into an open V with the knees and the arms. Feet can rest on the floor. And breathe out, clamp close the arms and the knees. Imprint the spine. Breathe in, open the arms, knees wide, stretch the fingers. Breathe out. Let's keep the chin tucked into the chest. Anyone who wants to be a little bit more vigorous, they can extend the legs and breathing out. Obviously loading onto the core. For this, we just want to get a nice level of mobility coming back where we've had such close, strong work along the spine. So here, clamming open with the knees only is fine. Two more, your version in the wide splits or in the clam. See if you can squeeze the shoulder blades lightly together as you open and then separate as you draw the palms together. Last time. Nice deep breath in here. And then breathe out, return. Hug the right knee into the chest, extend the left, and passive hip flexion here, gently rocking the knee towards the chest. And then switching sides, left knee in, right leg extends. Both knees into the chest for full Apanasana, little rock on the spine. Happy baby, open the knees, reach to the little toes. Let's use the elbows to separate the knees. Separate the ankles and take a gentle rock. So here, massaging out the spine, nice reset. You can let the head rock in the opposite direction or the same direction. Just be led by whatever you feel you want to do. Have a little pressure of the fingers into the soles of the feet, and the soles of the feet into the fingers. You'll feel a lot stronger work into the backs of the legs. For the last little rock here, let's give the inner thighs a little bit of a deeper stretch, with the elbows lightly pressing into the inner knees. And then slowly draw the knees together. We're rocking forwards and backwards on the spine. A few times again, just being aware of the whole length of the spine. Last time. Relax the jaw. There we go. 9:45. Well done.